Welcome to Funimation 3D. Today, we are going on a magical journey into a world of shining mountains, whispering forests, and ancient secrets, where we will discover why kindness is the greatest power of all. Long ago, in a peaceful village called Leora, nestled between blue mountains and a sparkling silver river, the people often spoke about power. Some believed power came from strength, some believed it came from wealth. Others thought power belonged to warriors, kings, and mighty magicians. In every corner of the village, people dreamed of becoming important, powerful, and admired. But among them lived a little girl named Mira, and she believed something very different. Mira was not the strongest child in Leora. She could not lift heavy sacks like the baker's son, and she could not run as fast as the shepherd boys in the hills. She did not wear shining armor, and she did not know any great magic spells. But Mira had a special gift. She noticed things that others did not. She noticed when someone looked lonely. She noticed when an animal was hurt. She noticed when a person needed help, even if they said nothing at all. If an old woman dropped her basket of apples, Mira would kneel down and help gather everyone. If a little bird fell from its nest, Mira would gently pick it up and place it back among the branches. If a child sat alone by the river, Mira would sit beside them and share her bread. The villagers often smiled and said, "Mira has a kind heart." But then they would laugh and add, "Still, kindness is not real power." Mira never argued. She simply smiled and kept choosing kindness. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains and painted the sky gold and pink, a mysterious stranger arrived in the village. He wore a cloak that shimmered like moonlight on water, and in his hand he carried a tall silver staff tipped with a glowing star. His eyes were calm and wise, and his voice sounded like wind moving through ancient trees. The villagers gathered around him in wonder. The village chief stepped forward and asked, "Who are you?" The stranger raised his staff and said, "I am Orin, keeper of the hidden mountain, and I have come to find the one who holds the greatest power in this village." At once, the villagers began to boast. The blacksmith lifted his mighty hammer and declared, "I am the strongest, so surely I am the most powerful." The merchant opened a heavy chest filled with gold coins and said proudly, "I am the richest, and wealth is true power." The hunter held up his fine bow and said, "I am the bravest, and courage is greater than all." Orin listened in silence. Then, at last, his bright eyes turned to Mira, who was kneeling nearby, offering water from her cup to a thirsty little stray cat. "And what power do you have, child?" he asked. Mira stood up and answered softly, "I do not think I have great power, but I try to be kind." Some villagers chuckled. Others shook their heads. But Orin did not laugh at all. Instead, he lifted his silver staff and pointed it toward the great mountain beyond the village. The clouds began to swirl, the earth gave a gentle hum, and a glowing path appeared, winding upward through the trees and mist. "Tomorrow at sunrise," Orin said, "the Mountain of Echoes will open. At its peak lies the crystal of truth. Whoever reaches it will discover the greatest power of all." That night, the village buzzed with excitement. The blacksmith stretched his arms and prepared for victory. The merchant packed jewels and treasures. The hunter sharpened his arrows. But Mira sat quietly by her window, looking at the stars and wondering what kind of power the mountain would reveal. When the sun rose, the villagers began the climb. At first, the path was easy and beautiful. Butterflies drifted through the air, and the trees whispered softly in the morning breeze. But soon the mountain offered its first trial. Across the path lay a huge fallen branch, and beneath it was a small fox, trembling with fear, its leg trapped. The blacksmith frowned and said, "We must keep going." The merchant hurried past and muttered, "There is no time to stop." The hunter glanced at the fox and said, "Someone else can help it." But Mira knelt beside the frightened little creature. "It's all right," she whispered. Gently, she pushed and pulled at the heavy branch. It was hard, and her hands slipped more than once, but she did not give up. At last, the branch rolled away, and the fox was free. It looked up at her with shining eyes, then disappeared into the forest. By the time Mira returned to the path, The others were far ahead. Soon, the climbers reached the second trial. Before them stretched a narrow bridge made of crystal ice, and in the middle of it sat a tired old woman, shivering in the cold. "Please," she said in a weak voice, "I cannot cross alone." The blacksmith shook his head. "I must win." The merchant rushed past her and said, "I cannot waste time." The hunter looked away and continued on. But Mira removed her warm scarf and wrapped it around the old woman's shoulders. "Come with me," she said gently. "We will cross together." Step by step, slowly and carefully, Mira helped her across the bridge. The moment they reached the other side, the old woman smiled, and then she vanished into sparkling light. On the wind came a soft whisper, saying, "Kindness sees what pride ignores." Mira's heart beat faster, but she kept climbing. At last, near the top of the mountain, the villagers reached the third and final trial. A gate of dark vines and twisting thorns blocked the path. The blacksmith struck it with his hammer, but the vines only grew tighter. The hunter fired his arrows, but they bounced away. The merchant held up shining jewels, but the gate did not move. Then Mira heard a tiny cry. She looked closely and saw a small, glowing bird trapped among the thorns, fluttering helplessly. While everyone else stared at the gate, Mira stepped forward. "The bird needs help," she said. Carefully, she reached into the thorns. They scratched her hands, but she did not stop. Gently, patiently, she untangled the bird and lifted it free. The moment the glowing bird spread its golden wings, the thorny gate melted away like mist in warm sunlight. Beyond it stood the crystal of truth, glowing with a light brighter than dawn. The villagers stared in amazement. Then the little fox appeared from the forest. The old woman returned in a circle of light. The glowing bird flew upward and landed beside Orin, who was waiting at the mountaintop. "These were no ordinary creatures," Orin said. "They were the ancient guardians of the mountain, sent to test your hearts." The fox bowed to Mira. The old woman smiled warmly. The bird sang a beautiful song of light and hope. Orin lifted his silver staff and said, "Strength can break, gold can vanish, fear can control for only a little while, but kindness can heal pain, protect the weak, open closed hearts, and transform the world." He turned to Mira and smiled. "You stopped when others hurried on. You cared when others thought only of winning. Again and again you chose kindness, and that is why you have found the greatest power of all." The crystal of truth began to shine brighter and brighter, wrapping Mira in warm golden light. Flowers bloomed along the mountain path. The wind turned soft and sweet. And in that magical moment, every villager felt something change inside. They remembered every time someone had helped them. They remembered the warmth of gentle words and caring hands. Slowly, their hearts grew softer and wiser. From that day on, Leora became known as the Village of Golden Hearts. The blacksmith used his strength to protect others. The merchant used his riches to help those in need. The hunter cared for lost animals in the forest. And Mira remained exactly who she had always been, kind, brave, and full of light. Because she had learned the oldest truth of all: the greatest power is not in muscles, money, or magic. The greatest power is kindness. Kindness heals. Kindness protects. Kindness transforms. And even the smallest act of kindness can become the brightest light in the world. Thanks for joining us on this magical adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Funimation 3D for more enchanting stories and heartwarming legends.